Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna do part 2 of Could Gordon Freeman Survive Poppy Playtime. This time we're gonna do chapters 4 and 5, which I believe will be much more difficult than, well, than the first 3 chapters, which weren't really that too difficult for Gordon Freeman. As I said before, Gordon Freeman has no weapons starting out. He only gets the crowbar and the gravity gun, which won't really do much against the threats. Well, at least the bigger threats. And we also, last time, suspected that Gordon Freeman could probably craft a crossbow, thanks to the supplies at any arts and crafts supplies at the school in Chapter 3. And if you want to or not, you could say he can maybe even craft a prison-like gun, you know? He might be able to, as there's a lot of flammable and explosive materials in Chapter 3, so maybe Gordon Freeman could. The gun is debatable. I kind of left it up to you guys if it did, because the gun didn't change too much if he had it, because it would be like a really weak gun. But it would also be helpful, so it's like, it didn't change much. We agreed that hey, Gordon Freeman gets the crossbow, and if you want to, he has a really weak prison gun. And so, yeah, now Gordon Freeman is on to the next chapter, which is Chapter 4. And so let's begin with the threats. Obviously, none of the little critters and the huggies around aren't really going to be much of a threat. They're basically the smiling friends critters and the nightmare critters and all that aren't still not a threat. They're like head crabs, except a bit weaker. So, no, not much of a threat. Now, the big Baba, kind of the bigger Baba, which is not like the big Baba, but like Baba, the bigger one, it will be more difficult than the little ones, but, you know, not too much. Big enough that one shot from the crossbow ain't going to do much, but Gordon Freeman's probably quick enough to reload it a couple more times to just kind of get at her and, you know, fast enough. The bigger Baba ain't going to do much. Then there's Yarnaby, the next big threat. Yarnaby is going to be like Huggy, Mommy, and all of them, where Gordon Freeman can't really fight them head on, so we'll probably kill him in a very similar way. But thanks to Gordon Freeman having weapons, could be way easier to do. Instead of you just running around, he could hit them in the eyes or vital areas, which could distract him enough for Gordon Freeman to set up traps or do many more things. He doesn't have anything that would do too much damage. Like if we have him have the gun and he shoots at Yarnaby, it's not going to really do much. It's like kind of shooting like a gun against a bear, or it's like when people were hunting bears back in the day. Like the bullet pierced the bear, it just didn't do much. That's kind of what Yarnaby is going to be. But he would probably, you know, defeat Yarnaby and all that stuff. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, it's all that stuff. Yarnaby would still, you know, be dead. And then the Doctor. Now, the Doctor is probably going to be a much bigger threat than everything so far. For one thing, he's a lot smarter than everyone, and he has all that robot stuff. Now, from what I can tell, he's not like he could just summon all of them for some reason. He can't just summon all of them at once to start attacking. But he can still summon a couple of them to start attacking. And that could be dangerous. And, you know, Gordon Freeman would have a much tougher time killing the Doctor than, you know, fighting everyone else. Now, he might be able to shoot the brain, but I don't know how strong the glass is that's protecting the brain. It looks to be kind of a thick glass, kind of a decently strong glass, which, you know, I kind of would make sense. You know, you kind of want to protect the brain to be more durable and, you know, to make sure the glass ain't so weak. So the bullet, if he gets a gun and he tries to shoot the brain, might not pierce it, though. But it might. It's up to you guys. I can't really decide much on how about that. But still, Gordon Freeman would probably defeat the Doctor. And the Doctor would probably be more on the offensive with Gordon Freeman. Way more like attacking, trying to actually kill him, because the robots just... Come on, the robots weren't really doing much against the player. if he wanted to, why didn't he just, like, you know, have... Seems like he can't summon all of them for some reason. Like, control all of them and just be a robot army for some reason. But if he can just, like, summon, like, 5 of them, he could probably have tear the player apart. But nonetheless, you know, Gordon Freeman was 5. Then next up is Doughy the Dough Man. Now, and before I started this, I was thinking, I wonder... I always, like, you know, I thought a little bit of what happened if I gave Gordon Freeman all those guns. Because, you know, I already knew the answer. The bigger bodies would, you know, not really do much against his guns. I mean, I'm not saying the bullets would instantly kill them, no. They're big enough and somewhat durable enough to kind of take a couple hits. But they're not going to be, like, eating bullets. Like, they'll be like the, they'll be like the Combine Elite humans from Half-Life 2. Like, you know, the difficult, but, you know, I mean, you could, one Combine Elite ain't as dangerous, ain't really that dangerous. And typically, you're fighting one Huggy Wuggy at a time, one Huggy Wuggy, and, you know, all that. So, if Gordon Freeman fights the creatures with all his guns from Half-Life 2, you know, it's like fighting one Combine Elite at a time, and the Combine Elite doesn't have a gun. So it's like, just stand back and shoot. Now, the creatures are fast, so he might not... It would be... How do I describe this? If he had all his guns, it would be slightly more difficult. It wouldn't be that difficult, like most of the bigger bodies. Except for 2 creatures. There are 2 creatures that, even if Gordon Freeman had all his guns, would still be pretty difficult to deal with. And one of them is Doughy the Dough Man. And everyone seems to agree with me in the comments, or, you know, most reasonable people. They agreed with me that, yeah, Doughy and the other one, Prototype, obviously, are Gordon Freeman, even with his guns, would have a trouble with. And, you know, it makes sense. Doughy is basically just Clayface from Batman, and you can't really shoot Clayface from Batman because you're not really doing much damage. And that's what Doughy is. He's like 800 to 900 pounds of dough. And so you shoot at him, it's not going to do much, is it? And that's what's going to happen here. Gordon Freeman would, even if it was with his guns, would not do much. And eventually, I feel like the fight with Doughy and Gordon Freeman is inevitable. Because, you know, that it seems like Doughy was so unstable that he was eventually going to start fighting everyone. And especially, you know, hey, you've killed a lot of toys. You're going to kill me. And so, yeah, Gordon Freeman would have to fight Doughy. But I think before that fight, something interesting would happen. See, Pomni's plan throughout the game, or like in Chapter 4, is to grab a bunch of TNT and blow up the place and burn everything away. And I don't know if Gordon Freeman would agree with that plan too much, considering that he wants to escape this place. He's still got friends to save. He's just here because he's kind of really got no point. Plus, what's going on here is really messed up. So he wants to help everyone here, but he's also like, I kind of also have to save the Earth and stuff. Like, I want to stop this, but I also want to get out of here to save my friends and, you know, save the planet and stuff, and maybe stop the Combine and G-Man keeps popping up. Kind of want to stop him. So it's like, yeah, so he wouldn't totally agree. So I don't know if he would place the dynamite. You know what, he might, but also, he might also steal a couple pieces, a couple strips. Not all of it, you know, he might just take some of it. It's like, well, you don't need all of this dynamite. And just takes a little bit. And if Gordon Freeman could just, you know, transform that. And now, if Gordon Freeman has dynamite, he gets a new weapon. I feel like that's a smart idea. Gordon Freeman would just like, hey, you know, we don't need all this. Takes some dynamite, cuts the little thing off, and if he finds a lighter, which he could probably find, can blow up stuff. He's got like dynamite with him. So, that's pretty good weapon-wise. And, yeah, I think Gordon Freeman would, Gordon Freeman would win. I think Gordon Freeman would keep the dynamite, and if he goes up against Doughy, I mean, dynamite ain't gonna instantly kill Doughy, but, like, he freezes Doughy, then throws a stick of dynamite at Doughy, kaboom! Maybe one stick's not enough. He'll have a couple sticks. Let's say Gordon Freeman has 10 sticks of dynamite, he uses 2 of them on Doughy. Doughy is practically dead. Probably also uses the buzzsaw, maybe shoots it a little bit, just to kind of make sure it's dead. Doughy would die, and Gordon Freeman would probably feel sad, because, Gordon, it's sad what happened to Doughy. Doughy is really sad. Anyways, yeah, so Gordon Freeman would probably have some dynamite on him. That's the main advantage. And, yeah, he would survive this chapter. It would be a lot more difficult than the other chapters, because he's, having big fights and stuff. And there's a lot more threats, because, like, in last chapter, he had, like, Gordon Freeman had a couple of threats that even with the guns would take 1 or 2 shots to shoot. He's got multiple bigger threats here, which would make it much more difficult, and if need be, a bunch of creatures could attack him at the same time. Heck, maybe Doctor would team up would have Yarnaby, hey, I need you to stay by my side, and I'll help you defeat him. I don't know if that would work, but, that could, be proved to be quite dangerous, I would say. Kind of a whole thing. But yeah, this chapter would be the most dangerous so far. And how the ends, where Huggy Wuggy's busting through the door. And on to chapter 5. And chapter 5 here with Huggy Wuggy ain't gonna be much of a threat, because now Gordon Freeman has dynamite. So if he wants to, he might be able to trick Huggy Wuggy into grabbing the dynamite when it explodes. Or maybe throws it in Huggy Wuggy's big old mouth. Anyway, I feel like Huggy Wuggy might just die here. I feel like Gordon Freeman would keep some of the dynamite. Or maybe all of it, who knows. And if he keeps it all, maybe he might keep it all, actually. I don't know. That won't stop the prototype from killing all the people in Safe Haven, but, still. With all the dynamite, dynamite might do some stuff and everything. And, with the dynamite, Huggy Wuggy is kind of dead from dynamite. No matter what. Anyways, after Huggy's dead, Gordon Freeman does get to keep his grab pack, which means a lot can happen, huh? Gordon Freeman with a grab pack, a crossbow, and some dynamite, and maybe a gun if you want to. If you want him to have one. That's quite a good thing. Because now he gets all of his hands and everything. And eventually, but yeah, Gordon Freeman would cross through the thing, meet the wrong side out creatures and all that. Not much of a threat like last time, come on. And then he'll meet Grillby, whatever. He would be a new ally. Gordon Freeman's used to allies, all that stuff. Wrong side animal's not a threat. You meet the Mig boy, you meet the Bong, Red Boy, all that stuff. And then we get to some Lily Love Braids. Listen, I like Lily Love Braids, but the chase sequence was not necessary. Why do they always do chase sequences? I feel like they could just do a couple battles. But anyways, Lily Love Blades versus Gordon Freeman. How would that go? Well, Gordon Freeman's got firepower on him. And so all he needs to do is light her hair on fire, and she's burning alive. And yeah, Gordon Freeman would win that pretty easily. Listen, Lily Love Braid's got some... Her hair can be quite powerful, but if Gordon Freeman wants to just light it on fire and everything, I mean, he's got the flame hand, and Gordon Freeman could, has all the new hands and all that. Gordon Freeman could just... imagining Lily Love Braid's burning to death, like, oh God, and all that, Anyways, now it's Gordon Freeman versus the prototype. How would that go? Now, I said Gordon Freeman, if he had his guns, the prototype would be the other threat that would be very difficult to kill. Mostly because the prototype has a pretty good healing factor. And that's practically been confirmed. It seems like how the toys are made to be toys is by using a gel, poppy gel, which seems to multiply organic matter and make it expand a bit. It's like basically, to run it down, every single toy has a healing factor. Now, the healing factor is not the greatest. I don't think it's not good enough to regrow limbs entirely, maybe, but it's pretty good. It helps. It's the reason why the toys don't need to eat as much as they needed to. It's the reason why they're still kind of alive thing. Like, their healing factor is good enough and helps them stay alive longer without eating, but it's not good enough to stop them from dying of age. All the toys are growing up, and that's been confirmed. I mean, every toy will die of age someday. Age. Oh, please tell me I didn't say AIDS. Please tell me I didn't say AIDS. I don't want that image in my mind. No, God. Oh, God, it's in my mind. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's in there. Oh, God. What have I done? I have sinned again, Father. Oh, God. Now that image is in the world. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Anyways, back to the thing. Yeah, so every character has healing factors, but, none of them is good enough for them to live forever, kind of thing. Except for the prototype and Pomni. Their gel seems to be the best type of gel ever, and it basically means they are immortal, in a sense, as in they cannot die of age. They will forever live forever and ever, and they don't even need to eat. The prototype and Pomni never need to eat. They're just immortals and will live forever and ever. They are immortal and all that stuff. And their healing factors was good enough that even if Gordon Freeman had all of his guns, wouldn't really do much. Now, if Gordon Freeman was killing Poppy, yeah, Poppy would probably die. But the prototype is big enough, huge enough, that his guns aren't going to do too much damage. And he will just heal from it. And we've seen him survive kind of being crashed against the wall, against an explosion. So the prototype is just durable enough and is powerful enough to just completely survive all that. And it's just, yeah. So Gordon Freeman, as of right now, how I've set up the scenario, could not survive against the prototype with everything. He would have his TNT would do major damage, and the prototype would have to leave kind of situation, because I feel like the prototype's smart enough. Oh, he's got TNT. I gotta be careful. And if prototype gets hit at least with one stack, it's just not like let's say prototype gets frozen. It's on the train sequence. Prototype gets stuck. Gordon Freeman throws TNT. If prototype wants to, he could just grab it and throw it back at you, and you might die from that. Actually, I think the prototype is the closest threat in this game that would kill. I think the prototype has the highest chance of killing Gordon Freeman. I think Gordon Freeman might not survive Chapter 5. Now, I'm not saying he won't. I feel like if Playtime Butcher survives, Gordon Freeman could survive. But it's not. It's pretty close. If Gordon Freeman's not careful, he would absolutely die. Because if Gordon Freeman's on the offensive and he messes up with his TNT or anything, or just anything he does, the prototype could just kill him. And, yeah. That's not really... Yeah, Gordon Freeman might die if he's not careful. And he's typically kind of a careful guy. Even if he is careful, Gordon Freeman could die. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that he died. But I'm saying prototype compared to every other creature is highly dangerous. And even if Gordon Freeman had all of his guns, he might even die from the prototype. The prototype is just that OP. Not overpowered, but I think Gordon Freeman would survive Chapter 5. You know, get the whole cliffhanger. And, yeah. And, but I think Prototype, it would be definitely the biggest threat so far. It's incredible. Would be incredibly, powerful. And Kissy Missy would probably die. Now, the whole scene with Huggy and Kissy won't happen because Gordon Freeman already killed Huggy. But, you know, Prototype would just still kill Kissy and, you know, all that stuff. I think everything would happen out kind of the same. But still, I think, yeah, Gordon Freeman would survive Chapter 5 with no guns and all that stuff. But it would be very close. Like, it's kind of, ugh. I mean, it was already kind of cutting it even in the normal game. But now it's kind of, the odds might be a bit better for Gordon Freeman, but it's just, like, not that good. It's not the best. Prototype is, I keep thinking about it. Prototype has some crazy feats with him. So, you know, Gordon Freeman would survive and all that stuff. And, yeah, that's kind of the end. Yeah, that's the end for right now. When Chapter 6 comes out, I might do Part 3 with Gordon Freeman and stuff. And, yeah, but that's it for right now. I'm curious if you guys would be interested in doing this video again, but with Leon Kennedy, no guns. Because I've been watching RE9 gameplay and all that stuff, and now I'm in that mood, and I kind of want to see how well would Leon Kennedy do with guns, and which Leon Kennedy would do better. Maybe I do all versions of Leon Kennedy. I do the rookie Resident Evil 2, RE4, and then I do the new one, RE9, once I finish that. And, you know, maybe doing that, having like maybe which Leon Kennedy would do better, how would it work? Would it work out very similar to Gordon Freeman? Or maybe it would be worse. Maybe, because, like, he's not having the power suit, the HEV suit and stuff. And the HEV suit, it helps Gordon Freeman a lot in these situations. So, you know, maybe the Leon Kennedy is definitely a much better fighter than Gordon Freeman. So, who knows? That might be, you know what, I'm going to do that video. I'll do it. I'll do it. I do need something to fill up the time while working on my review of playing Half-Life 2 for the first time. Finished that game a while ago, just working on the script. But anyways, yeah, well, who knows? Well, I'll see you guys another time. Please like and subscribe if you want more content. If you want that Resident Evil versus Poppy Playtime video, I'll do it. You just gotta subscribe. Like the video, comment your favorite chapter or your favorite game, whatever. And yep, that's all, folks. See ya.